Hi, welcome back. My name is Olin. You may know me as Hoopy_GSE from my Twitch and YouTube channels, but I am here to talk to you about UVS 2025 Nationals in Dallas, Texas. So, for those that watched the video previously, between the box openings and pack openings and things like that, you may notice that I had played in the regional that took place in St. Louis. I finished 100th out of 167 people ish. I need to double check my numbers there. Anyway, not the best look. I played Ryukyu on all, but this was also before the Attack on Titan package that was also released, and then she eventually got her errata. And then I was like, what am I going to do next? Fast forward to this past weekend. It is currently January 28th that I'm recording this because I finally took a couple of days to kind of like get the competition kind of out of my mind, off the palette, whatever. We played 9 rounds. It was a very grindy and rewarding experience. And to say that I am proud of myself is kind of an understatement because I was talking to my team in Oklahoma City and was telling them that I did not expect myself to do that well. I expected myself to go 1-8, 2-7, 3-6 at best, mostly because I was just kind of keeping myself in check in a way. I didn't want myself to like kind of get a big head about it. So my team that consists of Keith, Dylan, and Cameron. Cameron, you may know as the UVS Hermit on YouTube, and he also has a content creation channel and page. He's constantly doing new stuff and rewarding stuff for his stuff or for his page. I had been talking to them the week before, trying to figure out what I wanted to play at Nationals. Up until the night before, I was kind of dead set on playing Paul Phoenix on all. I know that may surprise a couple of you because some builds out there kind of revolve around him being played on fire, on order. It also helps with a lot of the order and fire attuned cards that are available right now with Attack on Titan. But I was constantly working on Paul on all. And the night before, I was sharing a hotel room with Dylan, my teammate, and one of the local guys here, and we were playing several matches of Smiling Titan, Bertolt 1 and 2, into Paul, and then I shifted to my other deck that I was building on, Godzilla on Chaos. Spoilers, Godzilla on Chaos it's a cheat code. It's for someone who's only been playing this game for a couple of months. It's also like there's something to be said about not only a character but a deck profile that is so strong in the meta that practically anybody that has a minuscule understanding of the game can do pretty well, honestly. And that's not like discrediting myself as a pilot. It's just the deck and the character himself are so strong. But we'll get to that here in a second. So the night before, not only was I finishing up a couple of trades, which I wanted to give a shout out to Snuggy, and the names kind of escape me right now, but I do know Snuggy and Travis. Surprisingly enough, I did a couple of trades that were not necessarily meant for Godzilla. It was for some of the other decks that I had been building in the meantime. Because again, Thursday night, I was already thinking, okay, Friday morning, I'm going to, wake up. I'm going to play a deck that, I have some fun with and just kind of go from there. I'm going to finish the first day 1-3, maybe 2-2 if I'm lucky. But I hard pivoted into Godzilla and I finished 6-3. So not only did I walk out of Nationals with a participation card, but I also walked away with a top 32 pushing the limits. And that's awesome. I can't stress enough how much I love this game. this this game is so frustrating and rewarding, and it's honestly my favorite TCG right now, or CCG, however you want to describe it. For those of you watching this video and you see this here, thank you for signing my playmat and being part of something that was truly special to me. I'm going to get this framed. I'm going to put this up because I don't know how regionals and nationals and whatever my I mean, I'm gonna be competitive regardless, but the fact is like if I don't get to go to nationals or regionals or whatever because of life intervening, however, blah blah blah. The fact that I was able to do something like this and then people were a part of it, the people that were on my team, the people that I played against, even some of the vendors, the fact that y'all signed this is truly, I truly appreciate it. If you've done any kind of research for Godzilla on Chaos, you already know the cards that I'm going to say. City Rampage is dumb. Determined Advance is also dumb. And the combo that I was able to play into was City Rampage, Determined Advance, get the momentum, and then if my opponent decided to block and or not block, depending on how that resolved or whatever, I would do a secret little sauce of Gently Theft. It's a 4 mid for 8 damage, but with Godzilla, it comes in 5 mid for 12 damage, 3 being from Godzilla, and then 1 damage from being City Rampage. You see how it kind of spirals out from there. It's disgusting work, honestly. The fact that Godzilla can string together, you know, minimum 3 attacks and, you know, like OTK 90 something percent of the current, character base. It's gross. It's absolutely gross. Um, he's really fun to play. It's I didn't get to play, some of the other meta decks. I did, however, get to play. Well, I don't know. Let me start from the top. So, day one, we had it split where it was 4 rounds in day one and then 5 rounds in day two. Day one, it was broken down as follows. Round one, I played Kendo Rappa, or against a Kendo Rappa. Mostly it was punch packages, attack Titan haymakers, things like that. You're probably familiar with the character. I mean, he just does things that Paul does, or what's her name? Kendi, the girl with Big Fist Bash. I cannot remember her name right now. But anyway, so there was that. I lost 2-1 or 1-2. Mostly because it was my own personal fault. I got greedy, and not only did I get greedy, but I also got real hard cast in game 3 where I was just not drawing attacks whatsoever. It was the worst, and that's part of the game. The game of UVS is feast or famine. Sometimes you can draw the nuts and get 5 attacks that basically wipe the board out and get you that game win, and it can be the opposite. You can draw your 1 City Rampage and 5 foundations, and you're like, that's my turn, I guess. So that was my round 1. Round 2, I played oh my gosh, who did I play round 2? I'm gonna have to. Oh, it's killing me because it wasn't any of the meta decks that I was expecting. It was Godzilla, of course, duh. I can't remember the guy's name, but he was also playing a Godzilla, and it was a Godzilla mirror match. And I made the joke of, okay, well, I guess whoever draws City Rampage first is the one who wins. Shout out to that dude because he played City Rampage back to back in the same turn. So he went City Rampage, passed the check, City Rampage, passed the check, and he was just going for it. And I was like, ballsy, real cool stuff. Round 3 was against the man himself, Tim Keefe, which is wild to say out loud. The guy who's been playing this game for, his words, well over a decade. I mean, he's a pillar of the community. If you don't know who he is, you definitely need to go and talk to him and do a little bit of research, I guess. But getting to say that I played against him, and not only that, but I beat him 2-1. He was playing Chronostasis, so I mean, it kind of was like, eh. I kind of want to pat myself on the back, but it's also like, I don't know. It's almost as if he was like fighting me with one hand behind his back. Anyway, the point is that it still was a great time. I got to chat back and forth with him for a little bit. It was very much a growing experience for me personally. Round 4, I played a edge shot. And not only was it an edge shot, it was an edge shot that actually made top cuts. When you look in the top 16, which let me see if I can pull up his name, because for some reason, this is where it's going to cut in the video of me trying to figure out who this guy's name is, because I'm trying not to be rude and forget people's names. Let's go to single elimination. It's not Travis. Josh Cornelson, Connor E. Tony, Justin Martin, Patrick Toombs, Clinton. But not only was it an edge shot, it was an edge shot that was Clinton, I believe. Yeah, I think that was him. Clinton was playing edge shot, and I ended up beating him in 3 games. That was a knockdown, drag out, very stressful round for me. Edge shot, being able to hack checks, not only on both sides of the board, the amount of damage that he can stack was just disgusting. All in all, to wrap up day 1, it was great to kind of get that, done and dealt with. So then I realized at the end of day 1, I was sitting at 3-1. I was in top 30 at that point. The imposter syndrome was starting to hit pretty hard. I try not to let the mental game of this card game kind of get to me. I try to kind of just take one game, one match at a time. But when I was sitting at the hotel room thinking that I was 3-1, I was like, wow, I am doing so much better than I was expecting. And I feel like a fraud because I'm playing a pretty simple character in Godzilla, but I was just getting the checks that I needed. I was passing the attacks that I needed. It was all working out in my favor. But then day 2 happened. So day 2, so it was all going well until the Fire Nation attack. So round 5, I played against a Bakugo 4. Shout out to that dude, because we only played 1 game, and it was a knockdown, drag-out fight that we had. We finished the game where I had 2 health left, and he had 1 health left, and we were just trying to kill each other at the very last minute. It was so stressful. I loved every second of it, and it was amazing. Round 6 is when everything started to kind of tilt against me. Round 6, I had played against one of the other top cut people, which let me double check this. Round 6. Yep, round 6, I played against Gavin Kale and his Mimic deck. Now, I had never played Mimic before, or against Mimic, and I had to make sure to read the card, understand the character. I knew that he had a lot of assets being built. His assets could be used as foundations, etc., etc. It was an interesting game, to say the least. Game 1, he won, no problem whatsoever. Vast Hybrid Chimera Kraken. It's a great card. Playing it in Mimic makes it even more disgusting than it already is. Game 2, I managed to figure out Godzilla did Godzilla things, and Game 3 became a whoever could hit the other the hardest was going to win. I just managed to kind of squeak by in Game 3. And again, we had a really great time playing against each other. And then when I talked to him after top cuts were made and everything, I was congratulating him. And I was saying, I didn't really know what to expect with Mimic. I'm glad that it kind of went the way that it did. It was definitely a learning experience, and I was also saying that I was, congratulating him and saying that I was proud of him to make top cuts and everything. Because I mean, it's still a phenomenal accomplishment to say the least. Um, round seven is where uh, I started going full tilt. I got real greedy because I was on the upper hand, or I had the upper hand against Connor. Now, some of you may know Connor was running a pony build. She's a 7-hander, 22 health. She's also very gross because she just discards cards, draws cards, plays attacks. Those attacks can get picked back up. They can get kicked out of the card pool. They can get kicked into momentum. There's a lot of moving parts with that deck. And I was not only floored and frustrated, but I was also like having to talk to him, a couple of hours later where I was like, okay, now that I'm cooled off, I'm going to I'm gonna talk to this guy about his deck build and see, how he went about it. The reason why I say I was, I had the upper hand, we started round 7 and they immediately called a deck check on us. Now, that was the second deck check that I had against me in the tournament. And I was stressed because in round 1, same thing happened to me. I sat down to play the Kendo Rappa. They did a deck check, and I had a game 1 loss because my deck and my sideboard were switched and it had not updated in the website properly. So that was on me. I thought it was going to carry over. Mistakes happen. He got the game 1 win. I got the game 2 win. We went to game 3, and I didn't have a tax for it. So when I played Connor, as soon as they did the deck check, I was like, here we go. I double checked everything that I could before then because I had done a huge sideboard replacement in round 6. I was playing against the Mimic, like I said before. In game 3, I had sideboarded out like 6 cards to kind of battle that. Round 7 started, and Connor, he was missing a copy of Fearsome Transformations in his deck, and then there was something else that was also like off about his sideboard wasn't proper or something like that. I got the game 1 win, and this game itself, or any card game or any game that you sit down and play, there's a lot of mental state that's kind of like going in. The mental state that I was in going into game 2, I was thinking, okay, Pony is really low. She's a 7-hander. If I can goad him into, putting 4 cards down, keeping 3 up in his hand, block, 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 so on and so forth. The wheels were turning that I was thinking, oh, I can get greedy. I can afford to get greedy, and I can try to burn him out here. And the problem with that is that you can only get so greedy with this game before you get punished for it. And I didn't learn my lesson in game 2. Kind of applied that with game 3, and it didn't really work out for me. I ended up losing that round 1-2. Connor, like I said, also made top cuts, and he actually made top 8, which is a phenomenal proceeding because I think a lot of us weren't expecting Pony to do as well as it did. So once I went full tilt, I did a crash out alone by myself, and I was like, what are you doing, Olin? Why did you do that? And I basically reconvened with him the next day, and I was like, hey, man, that's a great deck. Do you have that on UVS so I can, look that up and, kind of play it at my locals, get some practice in, blah, blah, blah. Because that's not going to be the last I'm going to see that character. I can almost guarantee you. Anyway, finishing up the last 2 rounds, I played against Joseph, who went 2-0, and then round 9, I played against Fernando, who was also playing on Bakugo. I 2-0'd Fernando as Bakugo against Godzilla. It was also very much a knockdown, drag-out game. Oh my god, I was so stressed in that one. I will say, out of all of the rounds, the one that didn't surprise me, I was also going in thinking that I am also guaranteed to lose this one. Round 8 playing against Joseph's Recovery Girl. as soon as I saw the foundations being built, the healing that was negating all of the damage that I was doing, I was just in mental just hell. I was spiraling. Like that is such a gross deck to play against. Um but yeah, it was good banter going on between the two of us cuz I was like this is the worst. It's like I can't really do anything. It was like I do 10 damage, last second rescue, he gains the 10 damage back, he blows up the foundation, and then next turn I try all over again and it's the same song and dance. So realistically, I could have finished the tournament 7-2, maybe 8-1 in a perfect world. But I'm not really here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about the fact that I finished 6-3. It was a very rewarding experience. I look forward to playing in more games, more matches, both locals, regionals, and God willing, I'd like to play at nationals or worlds again. Who knows? But all in all, this game is great. I like where it's at right now. I'm glad that I get to shift gears and stop playing Godzilla for a little bit and just kind of get to have fun with my locals and get to have fun with the community that we're trying to build at Primal Nerds in Yukon. Build up the community in Norman at One Stop. I get to interact with Cameron, Keith, and Dylan on a daily basis. We're constantly kicking deck ideas and character questions back and forth to one another. I also want to give a shout out to the Tulsa team, also known as Response on Play here on YouTube. I got to talk to them at lengths about several things before. Steph, James, Jake, Andrew, Brian, all of them great guys, great people. Truly enjoy getting to kind of sit down and talk with them and kind of just see how they feel about the game. So if you saw me there at Nationals, I hope I wasn't rude to you. I hope we had some good back and forth or banter. I hope you had a great time at Nationals. I know I did. The next time you see me, whether it be at a regionals or a locals or whatever, don't be afraid to stop by and say, hey, I saw your Godzilla deck, or hey, I saw your YouTube video. I'm usually pretty approachable. I'm very much a social butterfly, and just by habit, I love talking to people and just being around you guys. It was a blast. Congratulations to Travis for taking the whole thing down. This is before Worlds, and I'm hoping to post this before Worlds. If you manage to make the get the triple crown, where you win a regional, a national, and Worlds within the competitive year, that's amazing. That, as far as I know, it hasn't been done before. But again, I've only been playing this game for less than a year, so what do I know? But anyway, man, I think I'm just going to wrap it up there. For those of you who have been tuning in and watching this video, I hope you expect to see more content being produced and created on this channel soon. I hope to be back with some deck builds, some profiles, some ideas that I may or may not be kicking around. I will definitely be cracking some boxes of Heroes of Exandria when it comes out. Yeah, man, what a fascinating and grindy yet rewarding game we have in Universus, and I hope to see you guys next time. So without further ado, pass your checks and don't top deck, and I'll see you guys next time.